Usopp is a character that I just didn't like at first. That just goes to show how well he's been developed in the story because he's now one of my favorite Straw Hats. And for this video, he will be our subject continuing on with my Straw Hat Power series. And specifically, we're going to be talking about how Usopp completes one of his dreams and becomes the real SOGEKING by the end of the story. But of course, if you like videos like this, please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. So with Usopp, I want to start off with his development because that's really what led to him having this dream of becoming the real SOGEKING. The reason I didn't like Usopp in the beginning is because he just felt like the weakest link. He just didn't quite fit in. In the beginning of the story, we get introduced to Luffy, the man who wants to become the Pirate King, and then right away he gets Zoro, the man who wants to become the world's strongest swordsman. They both have these very unique special powers, so it gets established right away like, oh, okay, we got some really badass, interesting characters here. Nami comes in as well, and while she's not ridiculously strong, she's been through a lot. She became a pirate at the age of like 8 years old, and ever since then has been fighting and stealing from pirates, so she's more than capable of handling herself. She's able to sneak around, steal stuff, can even use a bow staff, can fight a little, and more importantly, she's not really scared of any situations because she's been through so much. And then later on, the final piece of the East Blue crew is Sanji, this badass chef who just fights with kicking only, dressed in a suit, so just another ridiculously strong badass character. But in the midst of this super strong, capable cast, you get Usopp, and even with just his design, he's this super slim, goofy looking Pinocchio nose dude. He's scared of everything, and his only capable skill was really just lying. So he just really got overshadowed and felt misplaced, and even his ambition was just to become brave. So compared to the rest of the crew's dreams, it was really mediocre and lackluster. And while I really thought Usopp was funny and added a nice dynamic, his whole gag of being scared of everything, especially early on, got kinda annoying. But because of how Usopp's character is built, and this is what makes Oda brilliant, we are able to connect with Usopp a lot more. He was just the most relatable person on the crew. He didn't have this crazy ambition and grew up with a crazy childhood training all his life. He was just a regular guy, despite his dad being an absolute beast of a pirate, but he lived a peaceful life on a regular island for the majority of his life. So him now being placed into this crazy adventure with the main cast made him really relatable because you could kind of see yourself in him. And seeing him overcome these challenges made it that much more satisfying because he was a regular guy. Like during Arlong Park when he defeated that fishman, I was dumb hyped for him. Like this is when fishmen were established as 10 times stronger than your average human, so I was ridiculously skeptical that Usopp would be able to do anything, especially when it got really clearly set up that Usopp, Sanji, and Zoro were each going to take one down. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I don't know. Even somebody might want to keep an eye on Usopp so he doesn't die here. But he did it. He defeated that fishman. It was a goofy ass win, but he still won. And out of Usopp, Zoro, and Sanji's fights against different fishmen, I thought Usopp's fight was definitely the most satisfying. And that's what makes Usopp's character great. Like I've said many times already, you could relate with him as he's going up against these crazy challenges. Like when he gets in serious fights, you're really committed and genuinely worried for him. In Alabasta, when he goes up against Mr. Four and Miss Merry Christmas, that was like, whoa, okay, Usopp is really close to dying here. And he did get absolutely messed up, but once again, he came out on top and figured out a way to win. So as that continued on, you were kind of like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. Like we're gonna really be connected with Usopp as he goes into these really tough fights, and it's gonna be a pretty linear progression where he keeps getting stronger and stronger and maybe eventually finally gets one big moment. But no, Oda does not do linear storytelling. He likes to incorporate these ups and downs, and for Usopp's, it all starts with the Aokiji meeting. After meeting Aokiji and the Straw Hats get absolutely bodied, that's when Usopp is completely shook. Like Luffy did not stand a chance at all. He just got turned into an icicle very easily. And for Usopp, that was probably very scary. Like, okay, this is our captain here that has been fighting all these strong guys that we can't even hope to defeat. If he's getting defeated easily, are we gonna just keep facing opponents stronger and stronger? How are we gonna survive? And that fear was already building up within him as they went to Water 7. And in Water 7 is where it all gets tied together. First, he just gets messed up by the Frankie family, loses the money to save Mary, and he has this incredibly emotional moment like, oh my god, I'm so sorry for losing the money. That money was for Mary. I'm so incapable and disappointed in myself. And he really doesn't even have a chance to gather his thoughts and recover before he gets the news that the Mary is being abandoned in his eyes. And that's what eventually led to his confrontation with Luffy. And for Usopp, that confrontation, it wasn't just about him being really attached to the Mary, which he was, but it was that fear building up within him and also those insecurities insecurities that he had. So when he heard the Mary was getting tossed aside, he thought maybe that could happen to himself. In a way, it was protective. He didn't want to get tossed aside in the future for being a burden and not good enough. And that's what really leads to him leaving the crew and fighting Luffy, one of the most emotional scenes of the series. And of course, he loses and everything, but eventually he comes back with a new identity as SOGEKING. And SOGEKING is really interesting because yes, it's very hilarious. The theme song in the anime is ridiculously well done, but low-key it's also a great storytelling device. Like Usopp puts on this new identity to mask his insecurities and failures as a crew member so he could still work with the Straw Hats because there's a bigger issue at hand with Robin getting kidnapped. And I actually think the SOGEKING identity is a way for Usopp to literally mask his identities and feel brave and powerful as a hero, essentially, this king of snipers identity that he could be proud of. And SOGEKING does come through clutch in Enies Lobbying despite not really having a solo one-on-one fight. First of all, him burning down the flag to wage war upon the world government, an absolute iconic moment. But later on, he really proves his worth by sniping Marines as Robin is brought to the gates of justice on that bridge. And he's sniping them away from like miles away and the Marines can't see what's happening. And then one guy finally looks through the binoculars like, oh my god, that guy's like miles away and he's sniping us. We can't reach him here. So just a badass moment there for SOGEKING / Usopp. I really like his conversation with Sanji leading up to that moment as well. That's when he was with Zoro and fighting Jabra. And obviously he couldn't do anything against Jabra, and then eventually Sanji came in and saved him. And then once again those insecurities started coming up, and then Usopp started saying, I'm sorry for being so weak and incapable. And that's when Sanji delivered one of his best lines by saying, you do what I cannot do and I'll do what you cannot do. And what Usopp does best is sniping. So let's talk about Usopp's sniping skills and his path of progression and how he could become the real SOGEKING, this king of snipers that doesn't fear anything and is an absolute hero, because it is one of his dreams and something he set out to accomplish as he went into the time skip. For Usopp, once he saw what Luffy did at Marineford and the time skip was coming, he said, I will become the real SOGEKING to help Luffy become the Pirate King. So him becoming the real Sniper King definitely has to happen. There's also the other element of all of Usopp's lies coming true, so him becoming the real SOGEKING has to be a thing. So how does he get there is a question. How does he advance his skills to reach that level? Because sniping is a really interesting power that I feel like just hasn't been showcased that much in the story. The question of who qualifies as a swordsman always gets brought up because of Zoro power scaling conversations. But how about who qualifies as a sniper? Because we really haven't seen any. The One Piece wiki has just like everybody who uses a projectile listed on there, like Katakuri is listed on there because he flicks beans. Pause. But yet the main people that could actually be really considered elite snipers is really just Usopp, Yasopp, and Van Augur. So obviously I think these three will be connected and Usopp has to interact with both of them, but we'll get into that a little later. I want to first talk about Usopp's skills. So post time skip, Usopp came back an absolute Chad. And you guys might think I'm joking, but out of all of the Straw Hats, I was the hypest for Usopp. The man got absolutely ripped. I was just really excited. Pause. Like seeing him go from this Slim Jim tween to this absolutely jacked kid. Low key, it was like, damn, if Usopp can do it, maybe I can too. But yeah, overall, besides his physique, Usopp came back a lot stronger post time skip, just like the rest of the Straw Hats. Before the time skip, his main big attacks were the Gunpowder Star and the Firebird Star. And he would kind of get creative with those to create different attacks. Like the Gunpowder Star, he would put multiple and form different shapes and attacks with them. And the Firebird Star is made from using fire pellets, probably multiple of them, and it creates this Firebird-like attack. But when he came back from the time skip, he got a huge arsenal of moves that's not only strong, but also very versatile. And that's because all of the pop greens that he gathered and learned about during the time skip, and he upgraded everything, starting with his Kabuto. His Kabuto post-time skip is shaped like the regular small version, but it could be watered and it could slowly grow because it's a pop green in itself. And the more you water it, the bigger it can get, allowing him to shoot further distances. The Kabuto also has this like carnivorous plant on it, so it could kind of eat like the things around it and then fire it back. And as far as his pop green attacks, there's so many to name. Like he's got a variety of things from traps like the Venus flytrap to other useful plants like sleeping powder plants and plants that just smell like absolute shit. In terms of his more powerful attacks, attacks, there's one called the Skull Exploding Grass that creates this huge explosion upon impact. There's also the Impact Wolf, which creates this giant wolf-like plant that just launches at the nearby opponent. So he's got a huge bag of tricks. I'm sure there are things that he has that we don't know. Overall, the pop green just suit Usopp really well. He's always been a schemer, and the way he wins fights is like trying to outsmart his opponent. But as far as improving his arsenal of moves, I think it comes down to number one, revealing more of what he has, but also combining his previous attacks with his pop greens to create new moves. Like, I want to see him utilize like the fire pellets and the gunpowder pellets with his pop greens. You maybe add the gunpowder pellets to the Skull Exploding Grass to make it a bigger explosion, or like attach it to the Impact Wolf to create an explosion as well. Also, let's not forget about like the Skypea dials. I know they always get tossed in the background, but he could definitely incorporate some of those as well. Maybe that's how the Impact Wolf is so effective, and he like attached the Impact dial to it. But using Impact dials and other dials would definitely upgrade his pop greens, and I'm sure he'll figure out a way to incorporate his hot sauce star. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff Usopp can improve upon just by mixing and matching. As far as getting new ammunition, the obvious answer is Sea Stone. In Wano, we've already seen Sea Stone nails and also Sea Stone bullets, and Wano is like the hub of Sea Stone, so I don't see why Usopp wouldn't be able to get his hands on some. We saw him fire off Sea Stone cuffs before to contain Caesar, just showcasing Usopp can be very strong if he got his hands on some Sea Stone. And I also think his Kabuto is really interesting because it can eat stuff. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Why not feed a devil fruit to that Kabuto? And honestly, it doesn't really even have to be a real devil fruit because they are hard to get. Just feed it a smile devil fruit. It's 1 out of 5 chance of like actually working, but like what's the harm? You get like a really annoying laughing Kabuto. I guess there is a question of like how effective would it be, what kind of smile it is, how do you control the Kabuto? But to be honest, I would definitely take that risk. But yeah, those are my best guesses in terms of how Usopp can improve in terms of weaponry and ammunition. But for him to really get stronger, he has to improve his observation haki. I don't think Usopp will get armament haki. He doesn't need it and doesn't really fit his character, but observation haki is definitely necessary for him, and that was his big moment in Dressrosa, probably one of the hypest moments within the arc. I just get really excited when Usopp completes a major feat. But yeah, in Dressrosa, with his back against a wall with Luffy about to be turned into a toy, Usopp unlocks observation haki, and low-key, it's really damn good. Like, dude was sensing people from dumb far the moment he unlocked it. So for Usopp, it's really about figuring that out and how to control it, which I'm hoping he will showcase a little bit of in the Wano War. Like, he has very knowledgeable people around him that, one, knows how to use haki, and two, probably understands a little bit. So hopefully he had some conversations about it, asking about it, and he's really learned how to control it and use it at will. I would be really disappointed if he didn't ask any questions about it and still has no idea what it is. But as far as improving it, I definitely think it will lean towards the Kobe and Nell side of expanding his range. Like, being able to sense more people, maybe hear what they're saying in a bigger distance would be a lot more beneficial to him versus the side of like sensing people's intentions and being able to like see the future. Because for a sniper, I think it's been very clear that distance matters a lot, and it's what really makes your skill impressive. Like Van Augur, the moment he was introduced, he was shown sniping birds down from miles and miles away. And since we're now on the topic of Van Augur, let's just talk about his role and Yasopp's role in Usopp becoming the SOGEKING. So far in the story, at least in terms of perception, the two best snipers in the story has to be Van Augur and Yasopp. There's nobody else really even mentioned as being a great sniper. So I think for Usopp to prove he's the sniper king and the best of the best, he has to kind of challenge and take down both of those people. Now obviously Usopp is not just gonna battle his dad to the death, although I do think that meeting is gonna be a lot more emotional than a lot of people think, but that's something I might address in another series talking about all of the Straw Hat's dreams. But in terms of Usopp and Yasopp, to compare their skills, they would both need to be very serious. The idea of a Davy back fight between the Red Hair Pirates and the Straw Hat Pirates has been circulating within the community for a while. This is the Yonko saga, and Luffy did say he wants to take down all of the Yonko, so how does he take out Shanks and the Red Hair Pirates who he's friendly with? Of course, by bringing back this silly Davy back fight that we got introduced in the Foxy arc, but this time it will be serious. And I gotta say, I really like this idea. You can get really creative with it. We'll learn more about the actual Davy back fight. Maybe that has some kind of connection to the Rocks pirates. We'll finally see some of the true powers of the red hair pirates and also Shanks. Maybe we get some sort of confirmation that Shanks is a swordsman. We see a little bit of Shanks versus Zoro. And of course you will have Usopp versus Yasopp, which would have a lot of layers to it. And honestly, overall, after all this story build up to Wano and Wano being such a big war, it would kind of be refreshing to have this chill, laid back Davy back arc, challenging the red hair pirates, learning more about them, and just chilling out for a little bit. But at the same time, the story is wrapping up soon, which I talked about in a recent video about SBS 97 and Imu becoming the final villain. But the timeline, at least for Luffy's journey ending and becoming the Pirate King, Oda has hammered home recently that it's going to be 4 to 5 years. So I don't really know if you have that much time to fit in this chill, laid back arc, especially with everything that's happening around the world. A big war is coming. Shanks is talking to the Gorosei about something. I'm not really sure if you have time to fit in this chill, laid back Davy back battle between the red hair pirates and the straw hat pirates. But I do expect one way or another Usopp to challenge his dad to kind of like prove himself to his father and also to try to surpass him as well. Another theory slash idea is that maybe Van Augur kills Yasopp and then Usopp has to battle Van Augur. And if he defeats Van Augur, that's how he's kind of proven to be the king of snipers. That would be really emotional and would be kind of fitting and would definitely have a lot of layers to it, especially with Usopp's relationship with his dad. But I'm still not really sure if Oda's the type of person to just completely create a tone like that. I know in Marineford, Ace and Whitebeard got taken out. I don't know, since then the tone never reached that level again, especially in Wano right now. It's not quite serious yet. I think Oda could definitely do it, but I want to see how Wano plays out first, and if there's a tragedy there, if Oda kills anybody off, then I'll be more open to the idea of Yasopp getting killed by Van Augur. But either way, I also believe Usopp has to face off against Van Augur. Like with Van Augur's introduction, he was proven to be an incredible sniper. In Marineford, you had him and Yasopp raising their guns at each other, kind of showcasing their similar skills. So when Luffy and the Straw Hats finally face off against the Blackbeard pirates, Van Augur and Usopp definitely have to face off as well. And sniper battles are incredibly interesting because the battle shouldn't be just Usopp is miles away, Van Augur is miles away, and the first one to shoot the other one wins. That would be incredibly boring. Snipers are supporting roles. They're only one person, but they really help out their side with sniping and scouting. Like the opposing sniper always plays a big factor in a war. And Usopp's goal of becoming the Sniper King was literally to support Luffy becoming the Pirate King. So this would definitely be a tactical battle between Van Augur and Usopp. They have to decide which areas to focus on, how they could gain an advantage. Positioning should be very important as well. And of course, observation hockey is going to be a key element, but it's also going to be a mind battle. Like what ammunition are you going to choose and use to hurt your opponents and support your teammates? And that gets me really excited because that's what Usopp is really good at, figuring out his opponent and figuring out a way to gain an advantage. And seeing Van Augur work through that as well would be very interesting for his character. But yeah, ultimately for Usopp to become the real Sogeking, the king of all snipers, I think he has to, one, prove himself to his dad, and that would definitely tie into his dream of becoming a brave warrior. But two, I also believe he has to face off against Van Augur and win that battle. But what about you guys? How do you think Usopp's gonna become the real Sogeking? How do you think he's gonna get stronger? Do you think he's gonna fight Van Augur and his dad? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. It helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, you want to keep up to date with when I'm posting new videos or doing new live streams, you gotta hit that subscribe button. By the time this video goes up, the King Pirates crew should be over 5,180 members. If you want to interact with your fellow crewmates, the King Pirates Discord is linked in the description below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm DKing4. Got a video for you right there, playlist for you right there, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.